Hi, I'm Robert Curtis. I'm the head instructor of the Distance Calculus program. In this video, I'm going to talk about our Applied Calculus course. You're on this page because you're looking around for a calculus course, and the first question you might have is, should you take the Applied Calculus course or the Calculus 1 course? Now, this is such a common question for these two courses that I have a video especially made for answering that question about taking the lower Applied or Business Calculus course versus taking the higher Calculus 1 course. In a nutshell, the higher course is really for STEM majors, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics type majors. And it's also usually the first course in a sequence of courses that you're going to go on to take Calculus 2 and then 3 and then multivariable calculus and other courses in the sequence. It's very rare that students are required just to take Calculus 1 and then stop. But Applied Calculus is exactly that course. It's the course that you do take and you just stop. You don't take any courses after it. And in fact, you're not allowed to take Calculus 2 after taking Applied Calculus. It's known as a one and done course. So it is very important that you make sure that you figure out which course you're supposed to take first before enrolling in either of the courses. It's an important decision, and like I said, I have another video on this page that goes into this question in great detail. I'll assume that you're on this video because you have made that decision. You know that Applied Calculus is the course that you need, and often this course is referred to as a single introductory course on differential and integral. Whoa, I'm breaking chalk all over the place. Calculus. So if you see these words, the key words here are a single introductory course. That's code word for saying that Applied Calculus or Business Calculus is the course for you. If you're expected to take further courses, this is not the course for you. Now, let's talk about the name Applied Calculus here for a moment. We call it Applied Calculus. We call it Business Calculus. Applied Calculus sort of makes people wonder, is it a calculus course that just has word problems everywhere? No, it's not. There are some word problems. I can't promise you a calculus course without word problems. It's kind of in our DNA as mathematicians that we have to turn to word problems. But it is not a course that's just centered on applications to other disciplines. It's really it's an unfortunate term that they call it Applied Calculus. That's why there's so many other names for it. Business Calculus, Liberal Arts Calculus, Calculus for non-majors. I think probably the best term is to call it the easier calculus. But of course that wouldn't look good in a university course catalog. You know, here's easier calculus. But really it is the best way to describe it. It is the easier calculus course. So the first thing is to talk about the prerequisite. The prerequisite for this course, for Applied Calculus, is just Algebra 2 from high school. And nearly everyone has that prerequisite just sort of automatic. If you are going to college in the United States, college or university, then most likely you took Algebra 2 in high school. So that's very common for most students who are going on to college or university. The Calculus 1 course, of course, has the higher algebra requirement with trigonometry. So that's one way to understand whether or not this is the course for you. There is no trigonometry in the applied calculus course, and it is intended for students who have only the Algebra 2 background. Now, many students who do come to us to the applied calculus course often say, my math background is not very good. Usually students who are majoring in non-STEM majors and non-science majors, they probably didn't enjoy mathematics in high school or in college, and you know, they don't have fond memories of that course. If you did like math, then you probably went on to a math or a science major, but if you didn't like math, then you found yourself in other majors. That's okay. Many students are very concerned about their background, and they may have taken Algebra 2 in high school maybe 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 20 years ago, or 30 years ago. And they'll say to us, I don't remember any of that stuff. That's okay. It's not going to be a problem, don't worry. The other part of this prerequisite is that many students who have had a negative experience with high school algebra are quite concerned that those negative experiences are going to come back and be maybe even worse in applied calculus. If you remember doing assignments like this, 1 through 99 odd, go home and do 1 through 99 odd on factoring quadratic polynomials. Many of us, I'm sure, remember those assignments from high school. I loved them, but I became a mathematician, so that's unfair. Probably you think of 1 through 99 odd and you say, oh, that's terrible. I wouldn't want to do that again. Well, you're in luck. In this course, we have no such assignments like 1 through 99 odd. So the way that we do algebra in this course is actually rather novel for this course. The first part of the course is what I call the Algebra Warm Up. Now, the assignments are taken from our pre-calculus course, so you'll see the term pre-calculus in that curriculum, but it's really just the algebra part of pre-calculus, not any trigonometry and not really any advanced algebra. And there's about 15 assignments or so to get you warmed up on Algebra 2. Now, that might sound like it's just an algebra review. And I don't know about you, but whenever I was in a class and they said, oh, we're going to start off with some review, I thought, oh, not review. Please don't do that to me. It's not review in that sense. It is really a warm-up to get your skills up to speed, but it's also part of learning the software that you're going to be using for the course, which is Live Math, which is a computational software. It does the calculations for you. Now, that should be appealing to you, especially if the 1 through 99 odd type of assignments of factoring polynomials and quadratic polynomials over and over and over again does not sound like any fun to you, then this is the place for you, because we don't think that it's fun either, nor is it beneficial. Now that you're going into applied calculus, now that you're going to have a computational engine called Live Math, these types of assignments are really meaningless. Also gone are the days where you might be working on a math problem and you're off by a minus sign, right? You have the answer in the back of the book and you look in the back of the book and there's a minus sign missing. And you think, oh, and you spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes or an hour trying to figure out in your hand calculation, where did that minus sign go? Now, if that's a frustrating story that I'm sharing with you right now, if you're feeling frustrated and saying, yeah, I remember those days, that was no fun at all, the really great thing about using the Live Math software is that this is going to do those calculations for you. There are some calculations in the course you're going to need to be able to do by hand. there is a certain mathematical literacy required of passing the applied calculus course, that you are able to do some calculations by hand. But it's only about 20% of the course. The rest of the 80% of the course is using the live math software. And by using it, by learning how to use it, to factor a polynomial, you type in the polynomial into the math software and you click a little button that's called factor. Because at this point, it's not really important anymore that you know how to factor polynomials, except maybe for really easy ones. It's certainly not important that you be able to do 50 of them like this. So we're going to be using this tool to, overcome a lot of people's math frustrations and math anxieties to engage the course material. Well, you might think, well, if I have math software, that'll just make the course totally easy. No, it's not the case. The course does not just become totally easy because you have some math software. You have to be the human in charge and know how to drive it and know what it's telling you when it gives you various outputs. It is a computer program. It is not as smart as a human. And the human, that's you, needs to learn how to drive it and interpret its results. So in one sense, you're converting a lot of math frustration into math success and having a tool to be able to help you with it. And it's not unlike using a calculator. If you have to add up 20 or 30 numbers, yes, at one time you had to do that by hand, but most of us, we go running for a calculator to do that now because it's kind of crazy to, have to be perfect in your hand calculations. That's my philosophy. There's many math educators who don't share that philosophy, but that's the one we have here at Distance Calculus. So you're going to go through this algebra warm-up. It's going to remind you of a lot of topics from Algebra 2. Not all of them. We're not going to try to go through the whole algebra course, but you're going to remember the ones that you'll need. And in the same time, you'll be learning how to use the live math software and how the course works. The course is a little bit different. This course is based on mastery learning. It's based on recursive homework, so you're going to turn in your homework, you're going to get it back graded, then you're going to turn it in again maybe if there were some problems, if it wasn't 100% correct, and it's going to be this back and forth between the student and the instructor. And that's a little different for students starting out, and a lot of times it takes a little bit getting used to for many students who are starting out. Now, after you finish the algebra warm-up, then there's the differential calculus, followed by the integral calculus. And there are about 20 assignments here, and there's about 15 assignments there. And then that's the course. It is a single course as an introduction to the topics of differential and integral calculus. Is it easy? Well, it's easier than Calculus 1, that's for sure, but it's not easy in the sense that it doesn't take some effort, and it certainly does take some effort. Let's talk about the next question that most students have. Is how long will it take me to finish this course? And that's an excellent question. How long will it take me to go through this applied calculus course? We have generally two types of students in the course. We have students who are looking to satisfy a general education requirement, and applied calculus is usually accepted as a general education requirement. Calculus 1 usually isn't. Depends on the college or university. Sometimes it is. But the lighter calculus course is usually accepted as a general education requirement. But the vast majority of students in applied calculus are going to graduate school. Congratulations, you were accepted to graduate school. Way to go. and you get a letter sometime usually in the spring or early summer, or sometimes the late summer, which is really even more difficult. And the graduate school says, "Oh, hi, thanks for planning to come join us in September for graduate school, but we noticed on your academic transcript you've never taken calculus before. You need to do that before enrolling in classes here at September 10th. Please get that class out of the way." Oh my goodness. And if you are one of these students, and this is about 80% of our applied calculus students who are planning to go to graduate school, and they've been told by their future graduate school that they need to get a calculus class out of the way before attending their graduate program. If that's you, then you're in good company. And usually these students have a big question about how fast may I complete the course. Now, a lot of this question depends on your skill level, on your mathematical skills, on your overall study skills, on your motivation level. If you're going to graduate school, most of those students are very motivated. But it also depends on your computer skills, and all I can really do is describe some scenarios to kind of have you be able to judge where you might fall into this. The world's record is 9 days. And oh wow, was that a magical set of 9 days. The student who set the world's record did so because they were going to graduate school and they had to finish it in 9 days, or they didn't get to go to graduate school. It was a very tough 9 days for that student. I would estimate that they worked 12 to 14 hours per day, every day, for 9 days straight. That is a very tall order. This student was an exceptional math student. They were an A student across the board. They were highly motivated. They did not have a job at the time, so they weren't also working in a job or a full-time job. They had 9 days that all they had to do was concentrate on calculus, and they were just an exceptional student. If I remember correctly, that student was going to the London School of Economics. So very serious, hardworking, exceptionally gifted student was able to do it in 9 days. I tell you that story so that if you're thinking that you only have 7 days and you are going to be the new world's record holder, to maybe think again that it is a very unusual situation to be able to finish the course that quickly. The most common fast amount of time required is about 3 weeks. And we have many students who finish in 3 weeks. In fact, this is the most common fast track finishing of the course. These students are likewise typically A students, typically pretty good at math, don't have a history of any math anxiety or weakness in math, and also a rather open schedule that they're able to put 6 to 8 hours a day for every day for those 21 days to finish the class. But this is a very common timeline for students to finish the class. The next most common timeline is about 6 weeks. It's a month and a half. This is generally students who maybe are working as well. Maybe they have a family. They're still going back to graduate school. They do have time, so they're not working 12 hours a day. They're working a normal job or a part-time job. And they do have 4 to 6 hours a day to dedicate towards their studies. It's still a tough 6 weeks, but Also, we may have students in this category who have weaker mathematical backgrounds, and this gives them enough time to get better and compensate for that and really succeed. So now, you can take longer in applied calculus. You can take as long as you want, up to a 1-year maximum. So you don't have to finish it fast. I'm just describing the most common question, which is how fast can I finish this class? You can take 3 months or 4 months or 6 months and have a much more relaxed approach to the course. And if your math skills are on the weaker side, I would really recommend you give yourself as much time as possible. You know, procrastination is not a good thing here. So if you did receive a letter from your graduate school saying you needed to take a calculus course, please don't put it off until 9 days before you have to have the course completed and think that you're going to set the new world's record just because you have to. Give yourself as much time as you can to engage the applied calculus course, and the happier the both of us will be. A note about graduate school deadlines is that we can't guarantee how fast you'll be able to complete the course. Since the course is designed around the mastery learning format, you have to complete the course the way it's designed. There's no cutting corners. You should see the video on grades, so you can see how there is some flexibility with the number of assignments, but really not very much flexibility. You have to complete all of the assignments at 100% completion, and this can cause a problem with deadlines for graduate school. So I will say that this does come up usually every September, and there'll be some students who aren't able to meet their deadline for their graduate school. We can't guarantee completion dates because it's really based on your academic performance. One thing that is very common is for students who are in this predicament to ask their graduate school for a short extension, to ask, you know, may I have 2 more weeks to work on my calculus class? May I have 3 more weeks? Something like that. Now, we can't guarantee that your graduate school will say yes. Some graduates say yes, that's fine, go ahead, and some say no. So we can't guarantee that, just the same way we can't guarantee how fast you'll complete the course. It's really based upon your academic performance. And that's the only thing. We can't let you go faster and not be successful in the course. That's just a golden rule for distance calculus. But I will say in the video, as I just said, that sometimes these graduate deadlines can be extended a little bit, especially if the graduate school knows that you're 80% done with your calculus class and you just need another week or 2 to do the final exam and to finish it out. So that is a little bit of a safety valve for a lot of students. So that's the how fast question. And now I want to talk a little bit about the curriculum. So as I said, there is an algebra warm-up, and that's taken from the pre-calculus course. So a little snippet of those assignments. The differential calculus and the integral calculus. Well, it's very common that this lower course is actually taken from the Calculus 1 course curriculum, and that is the same here, that we take some assignments and make them easier because it is the easier course, and just some of the assignments, and have that be part of the differential calculus portion and then the integral calculus portion, so that you have a general introduction to the subject. But you'll see the Calculus 1 on the notebooks, and so I tell students, don't worry, we've taken these notebooks and made them a little bit easier. We've taken out all the trigonometry from them, and it's a lowered sense of assignments, lowered in number, and made appropriately easier for you to get through the course. Now, when students start in the course, they generally don't go as fast through the Algebra Warm Up as they'd like to, especially if you're on a really fast track. You start in the Algebra Warm Up and you think that it's only going to take, a week, and it ends up taking 2 weeks. And that causes some anxiety and frustration. And you say, but I need to finish this course really, really fast. And I took all this time on this part that's supposed to be the easiest part. Well, don't worry. For almost all students, the Algebra Warm-Up takes sometimes a little longer, depending on your background and your computer savviness. And then you go into the differential calculus portion and you find out that you actually go faster. You go faster because this warm-up is actually really good for you. Think of working out at a gym, right? You don't go in and just start on the bench press and put it up to like 500 pounds and start bench pressing. You don't do that. You warm up first. And this algebra warm-up gets you warmed up. Then you go into the differential calculus portion, you're good and warm, you're ready to go. You actually go faster through it than if you hadn't done the warm-up. And then when you get to the last part of the course, the integral calculus, you actually even go faster through that. So the course starts out slow and then you get faster as you're going through. It's not because these things are easier, it's because you're getting better and you're getting smarter at it. We see it all the time with students in applied calculus. They're always very concerned about their speed through this portion of the course. We tell them, don't worry, you're going to go faster, and then they do. And then they say, oh, you were right. Well, I'm telling you now in video format that that's the way the course will go for you as well, most likely. Of course, if you do run into difficulties in the differential or integral calculus portions of the course, the mastery learning format allows you to take extra time to engage those assignments, and you're not under any deadlines for, I have to finish this assignment by Tuesday. That's not going to be going on in this class. Of course, if you have a deadline like a graduate school application, then that is looming in your head in the background, but take that away for the moment, that there aren't any deadlines for these things for you to have to finish a particular assignment by a particular day. So there is that flexibility to allow you to spend more time, especially there are a couple of harder assignments in here, and you can spend more time on those that you need to succeed at them. And that's a nice thing to be able to do. So unfortunately, the applied calculus course is kind of this balancing act we're used to here, where you have students who need to go fast and then need to sometimes bring their math skills up to a collegiate level, and it's kind of a seesaw thing. And we generally see students succeed very well in this course and usually meet their goal deadlines, but sometimes a little bit longer than they had hoped to or had declared at the beginning of the course that they needed to finish by. So, word to the wise, that just comes with this particular course's landscape. Now, if I haven't answered any questions about the course or the other videos don't answer any specific questions you have, please write me an email, get on chat with me, and I'll try to answer any questions that you may have. But please check out the other videos first, and probably I've answered your question in one of those, so it'll save some time. But if you still have questions or you just want to say hi, go ahead and say hi, and we look forward to having you join us in the course. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.